form a little rough on the landing. He may have to settle for the bronze.
How do I get to Greenwich?
Take this train, 3 stops.
Mind the gap.
Sorry.
Hello everyone, welcome to Settle for the Bronze. This is ARUD 007.
And TYCLOPS.
And this week we're reviewing Thor the Dark World. Now, TYCLOPS, scorekeeper, do your thing.
Alright, so we got a 7.1 on IMDb, a 66% critic score on Rotten Tomatoes with a 78% audience score, as well as a 54% on Metacritics, and no lame reviewers, and it makes me sad.
So you don't have a pretentious critic to read from?
I don't have a pretentious critic to read from today. I'm sure if I did some digging I could find one, but I want to find one that's popular, one that people actually like. Some people actually like that
like
review.
A New York Times review.
Yeah.
It
Makes me sad.
All right, I guess we'll go ahead and get into our basic thoughts and recommendations.
Mm-hmm.
TYCLOPS, go ahead.
I actually really enjoy this movie. I'd probably give it like a B. I'm a big fan. I enjoyed this when it first came out. We recently we rewatched it for this discussion. I enjoyed it just as much. I think it's obviously it doesn't have
even with me complaining.
Even with ARUD complaining literally every chance he got. But
not every chance.
Most chances.
Most
chances.
Yeah.
But no, I enjoyed. I mean, it's obviously not as significant a part on the Marvel universe as some of the other ones, but I think it's a fun movie. It's not. I mean, it doesn't take itself seriously. It's not trying to be anything big. It's just a fun blockbuster thing. It probably is. I think I could definitely see the argument for it being the weakest Marvel movie, but I don't think that necessarily means that it's a bad movie in the slightest. Take over.
Who would you recommend it to?
Oh, I'd recommend it to anybody. I'd say generally it's fun. It's a nice one. I mean, not it's not a masterpiece, but go watch it. Enjoy it.
Obviously, it helps if you've seen first Thor.
Yeah. First Thor is probably the most important.
Well, Avengers, because
do they reference? Don't they reference the Battle of New York or something?
Well, mostly because it starts off with Loki coming back in cuffs.
Yeah. That's a big name. So I mean, obviously, it's obviously works a lot better when you've got the rest of the universe thrown in. ARUD the Hack Fraud is going to tell you his recommendation.
All right, we got another one where we're kind of divided.
Kind of.
And I don't hate the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I don't hate it, but I think it's very average. It brings nothing new to the table.
I will say there are definitely missed opportunities with this movie. There are things that they could have done much better. There are things they could have done that would have been really, really cool to do. Whether or not any of them are in the realm of things you would do with a Hollywood blockbuster, I don't know. But they are definitely opportunities that were there to make this a much more significant movie.
We'll get into that.
Yes.
But that's one of my main problems. I was constantly going, why didn't they do that? That would have been a lot better.
Yeah.
That was a lot of
I guess.
That was a lot of the experience of watching. But I would give it a C.
I think part of that is also to take into account our disagreement on what grades should mean.
Our general perspective of film.
Yeah, that too. We'll get into all this.
Yeah, but
recommendations.
You're just a casual moviegoer who wants to watch a fun action movie. It does nothing to move the universe. It does stuff, but not enough to make me care. I have a hard time caring about anything that happens in this movie, and I have a hard time just...
But you liked Iron Man 2, and Iron Man 2 we argued did not set up Avengers.
Character progression for Tony Stark.
We'll get into that.
You fraud.
I'm voicing the audience here. Our loyal fans need me to ask the hard questions that you won't ask because you're a hack fraud. Okay.
Well, all right then.
but really, all right. So
I would still recommend it, especially if you enjoy the Marvel Cinematic Universe and you're like, oh, it's just fun and I like all the characters and everything. But if you're fully invested looking for story and character.
And I mean, there's not a lot of references to other Marvel movies and stuff. There's references to.
There's a couple of good ones, and then
yeah. So
it's not completely focused on that.
No, it's not fully embedded in the universe or anything. But
I completely agree that it is the weakest Marvel movie, cinematic universe movie.
Yeah,
not to be confused. I would take this over.
That is what I meant. I should
I
clarify.
promise, I would take this over Spider-Man 3 any day.
You better.
All right.
I know where you live.
So those are our general recommendations. If you haven't seen the movie, I guess go ahead and watch it because we're about to get into spoilers. So yeah, go do that. All right, now full-on spoilers. I don't know. Where do you want to start with this?
First of all, probably maybe the biggest strength of the movie, the visuals.
Yeah.
Very, very pretty movie. Very cool movie. Lots of great. I love like all the action scenes. There's lots of action throughout. Again, I think it's a very it's pretty much to me it seems like the best that like your fairly superficial summer blockbuster is gonna have to offer. You know, the action's great, the CGI's good, and it's all. I mean, plot's simple. You're not scratching your head trying to figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
It just it lays it all out for you, and you just follow along.
It felt very much like sort of like the Star Wars prequels in terms of like design of like
a little bit, but
but not like that CGI is so noticeably a green screen like it is with the prequels.
No, it's
the special effects and everything work really well. I wasn't constantly going, that doesn't look real. That doesn't.
Yeah,
look
no,
real.
it looks fine.
Okay, it's just part of the movie.
Yeah, and the directing, all the cinematography, I'm a fan of.
I guess we should go ahead and say director Alan Taylor, one of the guys who worked on Game of Thrones. So.
Yeah.
They got the right guy to direct.
Yeah, definitely. And
my problems are not with the direction at all.
Yeah, it's fun. It's very fun to watch. Acting. Now, this is I don't know. I feel like you can make an argument that there's sketchiness in some of the more minor characters. Because like I feel like there are moments where you can feel the script shining through. Kind of, and so it's like Jane Foster and Darcy. I don't know the actress's name, but some of the more minor characters.
Yeah.
But overall, obviously, Tom Hiddleston steals the show acting wise as Loki.
Yep.
He's fantastic in it. If nothing else, watch the movie for that. Like that's should have mentioned that earlier. That's
just watch a compilation video of all his scenes.
Well, but to be fair, he's in like most of the second half of the movie.
That's true.
So I mean. I make the argument that this should have been called something relating to Loki because the dark elves in the dark world they're there for plot.
They're boring.
They're following the script.
Boring.
Yeah, and I know there's talk that there was a lot of stuff cut out for them, like especially for Malekith, and that I don't know the story behind that, but. They're definitely the weakest Marvel Universe villain. I don't know that this is my least favorite Marvel Universe movie, but this is definitely the weakest Marvel Universe villain, for sure.
Yeah.
Which is a shame because Christopher Eccleston's a really good actor. You ever seen Doctor Who? He was on Heroes for like a brief few episodes.
I think he's in G.I. Joe: Rise of Cobra.
Is he really?
I think.
Well,
go check out that commentary if you care.
The more you know. But yeah, it's. I don't know. I generally the acting either goes from fine to good with Loki. It's.
Yeah,
it's good.
No, the acting's not the
yeah.
Acting and direction are not
I know. I'm knocking out everything to kind of. You. I picked 2 points. You grab something.
Where do I begin?
Because your whole argument against this movie is tied up in it's kind of a
yeah. That's why
that's
why I don't know where to start.
But basically, it comes down to something that we've kind of talked about a little bit before, and you probably noticed if you watched our discussions. Typically, ARUD is a little more focused on what's going on outside of the movie and the factors that created the movie.
Yeah.
And typically, I'm more just focused on what's going on inside the movie.
And
that's where our disagreement on this movie comes from.
Like, for example, when we did Alien 3, I appreciated the fact that movie was an absolute nightmare to make.
Yeah.
And there's documentaries and stuff you can watch. It was an absolute nightmare. And the fact that it comes out as cohesive as it does, I'm amazed by that.
Yeah, but it's the same idea where it's like, I generally, I mean, I can appreciate that, obviously. It's very impressive, but when I'm watching the movie, I'm just watching the movie, and I'm focused on what's going on with the movie. And personally, I didn't have any problems with this one. I enjoyed it. I thought it was...
Well, specifically, my problems with this movie are as it relates to acting as a Marvel Cinematic Universe installment.
Mm-hmm.
Because other than introducing an Infinity Gem for Thanos to use 5 movies down the road, there's nothing here.
Yeah.
I mean, except for Loki killing Odin, maybe off screen, maybe. Maybe.
Who knows?
Maybe put him back in Odin's sleep.
Which I agree with you. You mentioned that should be an after credit scene, and while the actual chronology doesn't work quite right, but like still
that's why you redo the scene, rewrite it.
Yeah, something like that.
But the mid credit scene has to do with Guardians of the Galaxy, so we're not going to even take that into account. The actual after credit scene is Thor coming back to Earth and he's with Jane.
Yeah.
And then they see the snow monster thing that they got pulled into London earlier, and that's just roaming around as like a joke.
Yeah.
Why is that not the end of the movie, and then it goes to credits?
Yeah, I agree. That would have been...
Especially because of the conversation that Thor seemingly has with Odin at the end.
Where it seems to be setting him up to like go do other stuff.
He's like, I don't want to be king. I'm going to leave.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We're cool, right? He's like, yeah, we're cool, buddy. Of course, it ends up being Loki, but then that's what you have the after credit scene.
Yeah, so it's a because that's what the after credit scenes are always. They're cliffhangers for what's going on. I agree. I totally agree with that. That's
it totally does not work standalone in terms of ending.
Yeah, because of that. Yeah, I agree. Let's see other missed opportunities. I guess we'll get into this. For one, this could be a controversial point here, but I really think they should have killed Jane Foster because
that's controversial.
Probably
people like that character,
but
I like Natalie Portman. I don't like that character.
I mean,
she's fine in the first movie. She's a complete waste of space and a plot device in this one.
She's not a waste of space. She's like integral to the plot. The plot is framed around her.
She's a plot device.
It's just
she's
based
a
on
plot
how
device.
Yeah. I mean, it's based on how they wrote the script that they wrote it around her. But no, I think that maybe not even necessarily having to kill her off, but getting her splitting Thor and her up because
what bothers me is that in the trailer, if anybody remembers the trailer,
yes, like it definitely
Malekith's raising her into the air, and he does that in the movie, and then Thor yells, and it's like, oh, they might kill her.
Yeah.
Something might happen.
Mm-hmm.
That bothers me when trailers do that. They edit it to make you think something's gonna happen, like, oh, this character might die.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Just
I agree.
Don't even have those shots in the trailer.
Mm-hmm.
Don't.
Mm-hmm. No, I totally agree. And I think that we talked about this a little bit. I feel like the plot is very vanilla in its setup. It's straightforward. It's not complex. It's what you kind of expect out of a big budget superhero fantasy type movie. And that's
where I would like to make the argument in that in this day and age we are past that.
But we're totally not. We're not at all.
We are
Transformers.
No. I'm talking specifically the superhero genre.
Okay.
Like in the day and age where we can have a Winter Soldier or a Dark Knight come out, I expect more.
I mean,
especially after how much I enjoyed the first Thor. I know a lot of people don't enjoy that movie. Whatever, it spends too much time on Earth, but I feel like it's actually justified.
I realize
in that movie.
and I do think this will probably be the last superhero movie we get that does not do major world building. I feel like, especially now that Spider-Man's back at Marvel in some aspect, and
isn't that what they said about Ragnarok? They were like, yeah, it's going to move stuff forward.
Yeah, like Ragnarok's supposed to be the Winter Soldier of phase whatever they're in.
3?
I think it's 3. Yeah. It should be 3.
I don't know how that's going to work, but whatever.
I don't know, but that's what they said is like in the sense of how Winter Soldier. Yeah. Spoilers for Winter Soldier. Winter Soldier seal got destroyed. I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be...
Which made that 100 times more interesting than this movie.
Yeah, no, I agree. The other Marvel movies typically move plot or character along more than did this movie. However, it's kind of nice just to get... Because I feel like from this point on, that is what all the Marvel movies are going to be doing. Because, I mean, we've got Civil War coming up, and they all feel like they're going to be building towards stuff. And the thing about... Part of the reason that I don't entirely buy the complaint that it's filler is because... the other movies got the excuse of being an origin. Most of the Phase 1 movies all the Phase 1 movies, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they all got the excuse of being an origin. So
well, I guess you could argue the Incredible Hulk probably wasn't.
Yeah, well, whatever.
The opening 2 minutes are an origin.
but well, there you go. What you like the Incredible Hulk? Why? What makes that different? Like, what does that change?
Because there's character stuff.
I mean,
going
the
on.
Hulk. I guess he at the end of the movie he decides. We're getting off the topic, but at the end of the movie
we can't even decide if that's canon or not because they got rid of Edward Norton.
Except they keep referencing it, and like I think that might be the most referenced movie. And if you think about it, because they reference it in
they reference the final battle a lot, and they reference Abomination a lot.
Yeah. Anyway, weird movie, weird situation. But no, I'm saying
maybe I was happy we finally got a good Hulk movie.
That's true.
Eventually, we'll do Ang Lee's Hulk. Another plug, but
but no, I feel like the first phase basically gets an excuse because they're all origin movies, and origin movies are very easy to create characters because most of the Marvel Universe origins involve characters changing in some way. Spider-Man with great responsibility, and you know Iron Man realizes not to be such a jerk to people, and all the stuff like. So I mean. It doesn't hold weight to me to say, oh, well, why doesn't this one move things along when the first ones only move things along because they're origins? I mean, we have, what, like 3 other movies that aren't... Well, there have been 4 total movies that aren't origins, right? If you think Thor 2...
Do we count Avengers?
No, because I well, yes, I would think Avengers is an origin.
Avengers, Iron
Man...
Man...
No, I would think Avengers is an origin for, like, the team. Because then, again, it's like, okay, this is the first time the team's together. Now we get to see how they interact, and that's what we play off of, and that's how we create mess with the characters throughout the movie.
Yeah.
So we have Thor 2, Winter Soldier,
Iron Man 2, and Iron Man 3.
Iron Man 2 and Iron Man 3.
Yeah.
And that's like there is more character development in the other 3, but I feel like there is some in this too that I mean it's subtle. It's not the same as same level as especially like Iron Man 3 and Winter Soldier and that, but. There still seems to be a kind of shift in Thor's thinking, and it's almost playing off the result of the first movie and kind of showing you where Thor stands now, and he almost even takes a backseat in his own movie because it's like
and that's my problem.
See, but I don't care about that. As long as I don't care about whose name is on the movie. As long
as you can shove popcorn in your face and enjoy the pretty visuals.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. No, that's not what I'm saying. I don't care about whose name is on the movie. I care about whether I like the characters in the movie as a whole. I mean, the Harry Potter movies, yeah, Harry Potter's in them, but I mean, most people like Hermione and Ron more. Like, it's maybe not Ron, but people. But I like Ron.
I like Obi-Wan Kenobi in the prequels. Doesn't mean he's actually a good character. It just means he's connected to something else I like.
Well, yeah, but that's the point I'm making though. Is that just because a character is not the titular character, and doesn't mean that they can't you can't enjoy them being in the movie, and doesn't mean I realize that if you're going to see a movie about Thor, you want to see a lot of Thor, but I don't. That's
where part of our disagreement is. It's how much focus we put on Thor.
Yeah, I mean, because I guess, and this is also part of my comics reading too, is that. The fact that Thor generally is not a very changing character. He's a stable character after his initial, like, kind of once he shows up on Earth, he grows from being a humble person from being a cocky person into a more humble person and like a generally better and more noble hero. And they did that in the first movie. And I feel like that's kind of, they're like, all right, so Thor has changed from the first movie. We're seeing how he's making more rational decisions and he's thinking through things more and he's not as arrogant and not as boasting. He's a little more down to earth. Lol. But
continue.
But especially like Loki, we get a lot of kind of insight into just how twisted and like manipulative he can be and stuff like that. There's a lot of characters in this movie.
But then that doesn't even mean anything at the end because it's like, oh, he died, and that seemingly meant.
But
something.
I just enjoyed. I don't care about where Loki's going. I just enjoyed watching. Listen. No. Stop laughing at my points.
I don't care about his arc. I just want to see him do stuff.
Because they weren't going for an arc right there. What they were going for was just showing you more insight into this character. And I think that's totally fine. That's the route you want to go with villains most of the time, because villains most of the time, unless they redeem themselves, which they usually don't because they're comic book villains, and people like to see comic book villains fight comic book heroes. Comic book villains don't usually have arcs. They usually just get explored more. You see like what got them to this point. And I can appreciate that, and obviously Tom Hiddleston is great as Loki, and because of that I enjoy watching him, and I just enjoy kind of seeing how his performance of Loki comes on screen. That's I guess that's what I'm getting at, is that I feel like the argument that it's filler. I mean, it is definitely the most filler of all of them. But because the first one's kind of got a free pass to get through character stuff, and this one is taking itself a lot less seriously than the two Iron Man sequels and Winter Soldier.
Well, maybe not Iron Man 2.
Yeah, which I would also argue. Tony has an arc there, but it's arc reactor. but it's I don't know.
Well, not just that, but it is. Iron Man 2 also did set up some stuff for the universe.
Yeah.
Like it introduced Black Widow and brought in Nick Fury. I know people think, oh, they're just setting up for Avengers, but no, I think...
which is my argument again. Is
that feels more natural than just, hey, remember that Avengers is coming, right? Right?
Yeah. No, that's what I'm saying. That the same argument I have for Loki is that I just like the character of Loki and the way he's being portrayed, and I like seeing the way he thinks and acts. And because of that, I enjoyed seeing in this movie. Despite the fact, regardless of where he's going with that character.
But you could take him out of the movie and you would not be missing any bit of the plot.
Yeah, you could. That's absolutely true. But that's why I'm saying it's not exactly a plot or character-driven movie. It definitely, I mean, it halvesies it a little bit. I can agree with that.
It halvesies it a lot.
I can agree with that. But I'm still saying that what's going on in the movie is fun to watch. And it's not fun to watch just because it's pretty. It's not that argument. That's not the argument I'm making. It's fun to watch because of what's going on in the movie. That is what I'm trying to say. It's fun to watch because of the way the movie set it up. There's also some good humor in this. I'll go ahead and throw it out there.
And there's also some bad humor.
I thought that I was going to end up being
Darcy and Selvig are a bit much in this one.
Darcy, I didn't catch him. Selvig, I agree. The naked pants or the naked running around thing,
and especially the fact that they bothered to show that.
They show it twice. Yeah, that's a weird thing. When they could have done that better.
The editing on the movie's a little weird.
Yeah.
And you can tell.
And again, that probably plays into the fact that apparently so much of Malekith got cut. Now, I will say, jump off there from Malekith. I will say this is not This movie especially disappoints with Malekith because he is a player in
Is it Malekith or Malekith?
They call it Malekith. I've never heard it pronounced outside of this movie, so I'm going with Malekith.
Whatever.
But he is a major player in Walt Simonson's Thor, which is one of the greatest comic book runs ever, in my opinion. And it's great, and there's a lot more. You could not adapt that whole thing into like one or two movies. But there's a lot more going on with Malekith and how he interacts with Loki and stuff, and he's a little more interesting character and stuff like that. So, I mean, that is disappointing in that regard. But because of the fact that they're not setting up for some of the major plot lines in that run, I don't really care that much. It's just weird. It is weird to me because Malekith is associated with the Frost thing, Cask, Ancient Winters,
the MacGuffin device in the first Thor movie.
Yeah, and they flipped it, so now. Well, actually, I don't think the goo's even a thing in
the ether
in the comics yet. I mean, because it's supposed to be an Infinity Gem, but I don't know. That's weird to me that they chose him as a major character when you've got characters like the Enchantress and Executioner and people you would, or even making it again. I kind of wish this movie was just about Thor fighting Loki or Thor interacting. I wish Loki was in the subtitle here.
Yeah.
That and they focus more on him. That would have made this a much better movie. I agree.
Yeah.
Again, missed opportunities. There are definitely those in there.
But it feels like they have to shoehorn in one of the Infinity Gems. So
yeah, a little bit. But I mean, they could have. If anything,
no, they could have done it better.
There's all the speculation about the Scepter Scepter. Loki's staff scepter
from
thing.
The Avengers,
yeah, that where people supposedly it's been confirmed, but it's not confirmed. I don't know, something about that. People, you could have done something with that.
Nerds on Reddit argue about stuff.
Yes,
whatever.
Basically, but yeah, it's. I agree there are missed opportunities, but I'm fine with what we got. Basically, that's what I'm getting at.
Well, here's the thing. The opening of the movie shows what the movie should have been about. And I don't mean the opening where Odin's explaining everything.
You say that. You said that at the beginning, that the opening of the movie where Thor's fighting across the Nine Realms or whatever.
Yeah, and he's trying to bring peace.
There's so much fighting exactly like that, though, throughout the movie. That's like, I mean, most of it's in Asgard, but... will the change of scenery really matter to you that much?
No. It's not the change of scenery. I'm just thinking about a plot that would interest me.
If they'd gone really deep into politics of the Nine Realms, that would have been really cool. I agree. But like, obviously Marvel did not have it like in their minds for this to be an important movie. They were just kind of like, people liked Thor. We need to make money if we want to keep making these movies. Let's make a Thor 2.
Let me finish. Let me finish, okay?
I'm on the defensive here.
This movie feels so much like Villain of the Week. We have this generic doomsday device. Let me finish. and that's what it feels like for most of the movie. And hey, we got Loki in here for a while. That's fun.
Yeah.
It feels like a generic Thor romp.
Exactly. We have not had any of those in the Marvel Universe. Why does it matter? We get one. Okay, that's cool. Like, I don't understand why that's a problem.
Because it's forgettable.
So we get like it's just.
I want these movies to be memorable. I want to look at each one and be like, "Hey, that was a good movie. I want to watch that."
That's what I think about all of them, including this one. I enjoy every one of the Marvel movies. I'm like, yeah, I'd like to see that again. I read parts of it.
But back to my idea, where it's about him trying to bring peace of the Nine Realms and make it a little more political.
Yeah.
That would also make sense with the arc that they seemingly have in the movie, but I feel is not brought to the forefront nearly enough.
No, it's not.
That's where he's like, I don't want to be king. I just want to defend Asgard. That's all I want. You could do that through that plot line.
No, you definitely could. Again, I am not saying this movie succeeded in every way. I'm saying it's a fine movie. I'm saying I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I'm saying I enjoyed it. I would watch it again in a heartbeat. I don't have any problems with it. I like the movie, and despite the fact that it doesn't move things ahead along the plot, I'm kind of okay with that, because I don't want every single movie of one of these movies to be like, all right, we gotta make sure we're setting up for this, and it's because then you get into the same problem that you see other studios, mostly Sony falling into the trap of trying too hard to set up. I'm okay with taking a breather.
But then they ended on a cliffhanger, and both of us have a problem.
And I agree. But that's one scene. Flip it, and it's fine. You're good. You're done. Yeah. There you go. Now it's fine. It's not set up anymore. So, like I just don't see the problem. I'm okay with taking a breather back from the big universe events. I mean, I know this is supposed to be about the end of the universe, but it's just a plot to see some fun battles and to have some characters interact and to see what they're doing with their lives outside of fighting Thanos and Ronan and all this stuff.
See, I would make the argument that if it were like a TV show where we have like 22 episodes a season, that's fine if you do 1 or 2 episodes like that. But these are movies.
But
we don't get... I
agree.
mean, we get a lot of movies. That's not what I'm saying. But, like, on their own, it's really not that many.
I mean, that's fair, but, like, Marvel obviously has a schedule for this. And they also want to keep making money to prove to their studios that
we're successful.
That we're successful and we need to keep going.
Yeah.
So, I mean... They're not just going to be like, oh, well, we don't have any plot to move forward right there. We're just going to not put anything out for this section of the year or whatever.
But they did have plot. They just didn't do it right.
But what I'm saying is what I'm getting at is that if they're going to have a movie where they're just kind of like, all right, we need to get something out there. We need to make sure that people keep the brand fresh in the minds. We need to make sure that it's something people still care about, and I'm totally fine with what we got. Because that is what they had to do, because they had to get a movie out there to just kind of get it out there so that they can get some more money, get some more cash going, and make sure that the merchandise keeps selling and that sort of thing.
So what you're saying totally fine. It is the most inoffensive cash grab you've ever seen.
Yes, yes, that's absolutely true. Again. it is the. I feel like it's the best that big. It wasn't actually released in summer, but big blockbusters have to offer.
Well, here's one thing I will say about it. It doesn't ruin anything.
No, not at all.
Like, in terms of expanding the universe, I look at something like X-Men 3 or Spider-Man 3, where it just ruins the continuity. It's like, well, I don't care about anything now.
Exactly. I mean, it just sits there.
I would rather have it just sit there than try and do stuff, and then it completely is ruined.
Which I think is the thinking, is that they need to put some real focus on stuff like Winter Soldier, where there is some really big movie, universe moving events happening. I feel like it's like we don't want to mess with anything and make comic book fanboys more angry than they need to be, and all that stuff. I feel like it's just kind of like, all right, so we're just gonna put this, we're gonna slide it out. It's gonna be nice. But
when you get such talent like Alan Taylor, I feel like you need to be more than that.
Yeah, that's fair. But again, that's part of why I like the movie so much is because they got him. So I mean,
this is again me looking at it from the outside perspective. But they put so much money and so much talent into this, and just for it to be like completely safe.
Yeah, it's a safe movie. I totally agree with that. But I don't.
No, that's why I respect Winter Soldier so much. It took risks.
Yeah, but I think it took risks. I think it took risks because that's on Marvel's agenda.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously Marvel's in control here. If they wanted this movie to take risks, they would have had it take risks.
Yeah.
They obviously have their plan in place, and they don't want stuff messing up their plan, so they run with it. That's.
I don't know. we're gonna have to agree to disagree on this one.
I mean, I think we already have, but that's.
Well, we agree on a very superficial level that it's entertaining enough.
Yeah.
It's not offensive or anything.
This movie is should be at least more based on your outside, like your view of movie creation and your philosophy on movie creation than
just your philosophy on what you look for in a movie.
Yeah. I mean, it should be based more on that than it is on the actual merit of the movie. Because the movie
this is a fun action movie, you can enjoy it on that level. If you're trying to look for something more, like me. You may not find it.
Interstellar Marvel movies. We have to get. I had to get a Christopher Nolan reference in there.
Oh my God! I didn't do that.
You didn't. I had to throw it in there.
I'm shocked.
Again, I'm okay with a breather. I'm okay with just a fun romp that gives me a return to the Marvel universe without me having to invest in it and I mean, even this sounds bad, but even think about it. I like just kind of seeing these characters come to life.
I didn't feel invested. I didn't really care about what was going on.
I mean,
it was fun to watch.
I totally agree. I probably would not have cared if I didn't know I didn't know Thor and Loki from the Avengers and stuff like that. I probably would not have cared. However, because they were in there,
I would not say anything in this movie was spectacular, except for maybe Loki.
I think most of the fight scenes are very good.
I mean, they're good, but they're not over the moon. That was wonderful.
I mean, and that's the thing that you can't really get without having a really strong emotional drive to the movie, which they don't, obviously. So I mean, it's fair, but
if I don't have an emotional drive, I have a hard time seeing why the movie is necessary. That's my concluding point.
Yeah. That's again it's not emotional in any heavy way. It's not heavy.
It depends on are you looking at it as a story or just an experience?
Yeah. Basically, don't go in looking for a Christopher Nolan movie, or if you hate Christopher Nolan.
I'm not saying
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that is I'm not. This is not a bash against you. This is a PSA to our audience, to our loyal fans.
To quote Captain America, it kind of feels personal.
Well, it is. No, I'm kidding. No. I'm just that's an exaggeration, obviously. And if you hate Christopher Nolan,
you're a hack fraud. Go watch Batman Returns. Go watch Batman Returns. You burnt lover, you.
Like and subscribe if you like me telling you to unsubscribe for not liking Christopher Nolan. But no, it's don't go in.
That might be the best one of those that you've ever done.
Don't go in looking for anything big. Go in knowing that it's a nice little jaunt in the Marvel Universe that's there.
Where the universe is almost destroyed.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I find an inherent contradiction in that, but whatever.
Let's be honest. This was never supposed to be. The Marvel execs didn't make this movie thinking, oh yeah, people are going to be really scared for the fate of the universe after this.
We knew Avengers 2 was coming.
I was about to say, like how many movies were already planned after this movie, or when this movie came out? It's obviously there's not much tension to it. It's I think it's fun. I enjoy it.
Why did we argue about this? I don't care enough about this movie.
Because you've been trolling me for months on this, and I'm sticking to my guns. I enjoy it. I had a fun time. I'd watch it again.
You do you?
Yeah. You do you, loyal fans. ARUD 2015.
It'll be interesting when we get into some other movies that just seem like visceral action experiences that I actually quite enjoy, and you maybe not so much. It'll be interesting when we get into that to see, why exactly I like those more than something like this. Maybe it's just my expectations. I don't know. We'll see in subsequent episodes.
Indeed.
All right, everybody. Thanks for watching. What movie are we doing next?
We're doing Mission Impossible 2.
Oh, that'll be something. We'll have to do our research and maybe check out all the Mission Impossible movies, because TYCLOPS is a virgin when it comes to Mission Impossible.
Oh, that's the term we're using.
Yes.
How derogatory.
All right, everybody.
All right.
Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks for our Mission Impossible 2 discussion. Basic thoughts and recommendations. TYCLOPS, go ahead.
I actually really enjoy this movie. I'd probably give it like a B. I'm a big fan. I enjoyed this when it first came out. We recently we rewatched it for this discussion. I enjoyed it just as much. I think it's obviously it doesn't have
even with me complaining.
Even with ARUD complaining literally every chance he got. But
not every chance.
Most chances.
Most chances.
Yeah. But no, I enjoyed. I mean, it's obviously not as significant a part on the Marvel universe as some of the other ones, but I think it's a fun movie. It's not. I mean, it doesn't take itself seriously. It's not trying to be anything big. It's just a fun blockbuster thing. It probably is. I think I could definitely see the argument for it being the weakest Marvel movie, but I don't think that necessarily means that it's a bad movie in the slightest. Take over.
Who would you recommend it to?
Oh, I'd recommend it to anybody. I'd say generally it's fun. It's a nice one. I mean, not it's not a masterpiece, but go watch it. Enjoy it.
Obviously, it helps if you've seen the first Thor.
Yeah. First Thor is probably the most important.
Well, Avengers, because
do they reference? Don't they reference the Battle of New York or something?
Well, mostly because it starts off with Loki coming back and he cuffs.
Yeah. That's a big name. So I mean, obviously, it's obviously works a lot better when you've got the rest of the universe thrown in. ARUD, the hack fraud, is going to tell you his recommendation.
All right, we got another one where we're kind of divided.
Kind of.
And I don't hate the movie. Mm-hmm. I don't hate it, but I think it's very average. It brings nothing new to the table.
I will say there are definitely missed opportunities with this movie. There are things that they could have done much better. There are things they could have done that would have been really, really cool to do. Whether or not any of them are in the realm of things you would do with a Hollywood blockbuster, I don't know. But they are definitely opportunities that were there to make this a much more significant movie.
We'll get into that.
Yes.
But that's one of my main problems. I was constantly going, why didn't they do that? That would have been a lot better.
Yeah.
That was a lot of that was a lot of the experience, story and character.
And I mean, there's not a lot of references to other Marvel movies and stuff. There's references to.
There's a couple of good ones, and then
yeah. So
it's not completely focused on that.
No, it's not fully embedded in the universe or anything. But
I completely agree that it is the weakest Marvel movie, cinematic universe movie.
Not
to be confused. I would take this over.
That is what I meant.
I promise, I would take this over Spider-Man 3 any day.
You better.
All right.
I know where you live.
So those are our general recommendations. If you haven't seen the movie, I guess go ahead and watch it because we're about to get into spoilers. Yeah. So, go do that. All right. Now, full-on spoilers. I don't know. Where do you want to start with this TYCLOPS?
First of all, probably maybe the biggest strength of the movie, the visuals.
Yeah.
Very, very pretty movie. Very cool movie. Lots of great... I love... all the action scenes. There's lots of action throughout. Again, I think it's pretty much, to me, it seems like the best that your fairly superficial summer blockbuster is going to have to offer. The action's great, the CGI's good, and it's all...
Ooh, nice
How do I get to Greenwich?
Take this train 3 stops.
Mind the gap.
Sorry. Sorry.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Settle for the Bronze. This is ARUD 007.
And TYCLOPS.
And this week we're reviewing Thor: The Dark World. Now, TYCLOPS, scorekeeper, do your thing.
All right, so we got a 7.1 on IMDb, a 66% critic score on Rotten Tomatoes, with a 78% audience score, as well as a 54% on Metacritics, and no lame reviewers, and it makes me sad.
So you don't have a pretentious critic to read from?
I don't have a pretentious critic to read from today. I'm sure if I did some digging, I could find one, but I want to find one that's popular. One that people actually like. Some people actually like that
like
review.
a New York Times review.
Yeah.
It
Makes me sad.
All right, I guess we'll go ahead and get into our watching, but I would give it a C.
I think part of that is also to take into account our disagreement on what grades should mean.
Our general perspective of film.
Yeah, that too. We'll get into all this.
Yeah, but
recommendations.
You're just a casual moviegoer who wants to watch a fun action movie. It does nothing to move the universe. It does stuff, but not enough to make me care. I have a hard time caring about anything that happens in this movie, and I have a hard time just...
But you liked Iron Man 2, and Iron Man 2 we argued did not set up Avengers.
Character progression for Tony Stark.
We'll get into that.
You fraud.
I'm voicing the audience here. Our loyal fans need me to ask the hard questions that you won't ask because you're a hack fraud. Okay.
Well, all right then.
but really, all right. So
I would still recommend it, especially if you enjoy the Marvel Cinematic Universe and you're like, oh, it's just fun and I like all the characters and everything. But if you're fully invested for looking for like